不行，太妨碍我了。
对吧？会掉下来的时候不方便你操作，然后是吗？
对的。
缺啥的字号的？
随便你，我在现在看。
很多的步骤没都不允许过。
这个摄像头安上吧。
等一下，我记得有个1.6的。
为什么不能用这个啊？摄像头。那个呢？不是摄像头。摄像头在哪里？
好，
在这儿。这是摄像头是吧？为什么这个镜头是反的呢？
镜像的。
那我怎么调整呢？我怎么调整？摄像头。
可以了吗？
可以是可以，不是这个不行啊。可以是可以。好难啊！
这什么？写的 anti minor。
Anti minor S9 Anti minor S9
Hashboard.
Hashboard is LDO's input and output. Yes, input and output circuit. Okay. Wait for some seconds. Their friends will join in. Here. This is a diagram of the S9 hashboard. You can see jar. The input voltage to the whole hashboard is around 8.9, and some version it is 8.4.有人吗？我就问。谁？哦 ，Hello， 这位帅哥。
想加入我们直播间？
都是熟面孔啊，这都是。
对，我能这样拿的吗？有点费手。
有费手，你拿个支架嘛。
来等一下，我去搞个支架。
这个是手绘图 S9 算力板，输入电压到算力板，经过 DC to DC circuit, the input voltage to the whole hashboard is 8.9. And here, in every domain, there is a LDO. Near the LDO, there are two resistors. As we know, the LDO is pin 1 and pin 3 is the input end, and pin 5 is the output end, and we usually test the pin 5 to verify there full voltage to the chip in this domain. We can see usually the LDO, its output is 1.8, and it will to here every ASIC in this domain. Every ASIC in this domain. This is the one input voltages here from the LDO 1.8. And the LDO output 1.8 will also transmit to the two resistors. These two resistors will depress the voltage to 0.8 volt. So we can test at the joint of the two resistors, get 0.8 volt. And this volt will also supply to each chip in this domain. So here, this is the second input voltages for the chips in this domain. Also for the other 20 domains. As we know, there are totally 21 domains. 21 domains on the S9 hashboard. So the third input voltages to the chip is the domain voltages. Domain voltages. Here, the DC to DC output 8.9 to the whole hashboard. So this is the whole hashboard's domain voltages. So average to every domain, each domain its domain voltage is nearly 0.42 volts. Okay. Above is the input voltage for the chips. Now we see here. For the LDO,然后我从头开始讲。Okay. Let's continue. We above just said the three input voltages for the chips in each domain, and then let's find out where the input voltages is for the LDO. For S9 hashboard. For S9 hashboard, every 6 domain voltages added here. Added together as the input voltages of the LDO here. So we test here pin 3 or pin 1 and touch on the heatsink of domain 7. Then we can get the input voltages for this domain's LDO. The domain 2, domain 3 till domain 16 is the same for domain 17. Okay. Okay, see here. 你要看什么？是没什么人哈。那我等你，等着你。要不我们开个吃播？
我准备在开个直播。
边吃边等。This is domain 1, domain 2, domain 16, domain 17. 你拿着谁的手机啊？是小组它本身就不允许你直播吗？还是？
有些小组就把直播功能关掉。
OK， 好吧，我可以讲中文吗？
没，有点。
好了，之前算了吧。Okay, let's continue. Today we want to introduce the S9, its chip circuit. Here you know that there is 8.9 volt get from the DC to DC circuit and then transmitted to the whole hashboard. And this is the domain voltages for the whole. So there are 21 domains in total. So for each domain, its domain voltage is nearly 0.42 volts. So here, the domain voltages. Here, the domain voltages is the first input voltages to each chip in the domain. Okay, and here you can see from domain 1 to domain 16, the LDO here will output 1.8 volt from pin 5 to each chip in its domain. So the second input voltage for the chip is the LDO 1.8. And here you can see near the LDO there are two resistors. The resistors input 1.8 volt from LDO and output 0.8 volt. Also to the domains chips. So every chip also get 0.8 volt. So this is the third input voltages to the chips. Okay, you can see from this diagram simply here the difference for the LDO circuit in domain 17 and domain 17. The difference is that the input voltages are different. Here, in domain 1 to domain 16, the LDO is input voltages. Input voltages is from the domain voltage. The LDO is input voltages is from the 6 domains domain voltages added together. 又不行了。But for the LDO in domain 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21, the last 5 domains. 不是 Sorry, my internet is not well. It's trying to collect again. 你又换，你是不是应该那个？
我换一下 ASIC。
那不是9点在那个呀？我觉得你应该给我录一个。不是没有网络，断线了。Okay. For the last domain, its LDO's input voltages come from the PSU or the boost circuit. Because for S9 hashboard, there are many versions, and for some version, there is without boost circuit. So the input voltages come from the PSU directly. Okay, here we can see the LDO in the last five domain input 12 volts or 14 volts. But for the domain 1 to domain 16, its input is the 6 domain voltage, and together is around 2.5 volts. So you can see from the hashboard. You can see from the hashboard. This okay. It's engaged model number and the front 6 domains. We call that the last domain LDO is high voltage version, and the front 16 domains LDO we call it low voltage version. And for S9 and L3 plus, the no voltage LDO's model is usually 4K here, 4VK4, and for the high voltage LDO, usually is G49. Their function is the same, and their output is the same, and their output voltages is also the same. You're always the 1.8 volt from pin 5. Here from pin 5. Okay. So this one is for domain 17. Here input 2.5 volts and output 1.8. And here for the last 5 domains, its input 12 volts and then also output 1.8. And you can see that for the LDO, it is pin 1 and pin 3 is collected. Pin 1 and pin 3 is collected, and the input end. Pin 2 here. Pin 2 is connected to the ground, and pin 4 is disconnected. Pin 5 is the output end. So when we test a certain number ASIC, we usually test its output voltages of the five signals, and we test its output voltages of the five test points. If the output is abnormal, then we will try to test the domain voltages, the output of LDO, to check whether we can test and pin 5, 1.8, and also test between the resistors here to test whether there is a 0.8 volt. So to know this whole circuit for the chip is important for repair the hash board. Hi friend, can you share? 没有人是吧？ Can you share your experience in repair hash board? Okay, and for S9, the version 4.21, there are test points for 1.8 and 0.8. So you can directly touch the test hole and to get the result. So here you can see from the hash board here output end pin 5 directly collect the test hole, and also here the two resistors, so we can test between here to get the 0.8 from this here, touch here. Okay, you can also see 还是没人是吧 好，关了，关了，关了，关了。太惨烈了，人都去哪了？
数学都可以保全的呀。一个老师方的取消。一个老师方的取消。一个老师方的取消。一个老师方的取消。一个老师方的取消。一个老师方的取消。一个老师方的取消。一个老师方的取消。一个老师方的取消。一个老师方的取消。一个老师方的取消。一个老师方的取消。一个老师方的取消。一个老师方的取消。一个老师方的取消。一个老师方的取消。一个老师方的取消。一个老师方的取消。一个老师方的取消。一个老师方的取消。一个老师方的取消。一个老师方的取消。一个老师方的取消。一个老师方的取消。一个老师方的取消。一个老师方的取消。一个老师方的取消。一个老师方的取消。一个老师方的取消。一个老师方的取消。一个老师方的取消。一个老师方的取消。一个老师方的取消。一个老师方的取消。一个老师方的取消。一个老师方的取消。一个老师方的取消。一个老师方的取消。一个老师方的取消。一个老师方的取消。一个老师 电脑这方面提升。